Hello, hello, my beloved Youest You community. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I am so excited about today's guest. And I got to tell you, you are going to, I think, both fall in love with her and the work she's doing. So let me tell you a little bit about Susie. Susie Moore is the author of Let It Be Easy. Oh, we need to talk about this. Need it to be easy. Yes, please. Stop checking. Let it be easy. Stop checking your likes and several other books as well. She is a former Silicon Valley sales director turned life coach and advice columnist. Love that. And her work has been featured on the Today Show and Oprah and in Business Insider, the Huffington Post, in Forbes, Time Inc., and Marie Claire. She lives in Miami with her husband, Heath. We have the same husband's name. That's so cool. Amazing. And her Yorkshire Terrier, Coconut. Oh my goodness. Find out more about her work at susie-more.com. We'll have that in the show notes. So, all right. I feel like you're already a sister from another mister. We got the same name of her husband. I wish I was in Miami. That's okay. I'll take it. And just so happy you're here, Susie. You have the best energy. You really do.
Oh, thank you, Julie. And I have to say, I don't know any other Heaths, I don't think. So what a sign that we should be talking right now.
I was reading that and I'm like, I'd seen it before and I skipped over it. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. That's kind of unusual. I love it. I love it. I love it. So just, I mean, first of all, maybe just for those that are new to you, I think it's so cool how you went from Silicon Valley, that whole world, to life coach and what you're doing now. Maybe do you mind sharing a little bit about your story and how you kind of pivoted and moved into what you're doing?
Yes, because this is essentially the foundation of, what it means to let things be easy. When I was growing up, Julie, I had a really interesting kind of experience. My parents had various challenges. My mom, my sister, and I lived in domestic abuse shelters. We grew up on welfare. We had nothing. And I remember when I was young thinking, oh, I'm going to have a really easy life when I'm older because I'm going to get a really great job and make money. Like that was always kind of my dream, my idea. I'm like, I'm going to be one of those women on TV who has like a great job and she has a nice apartment and a nice husband. And then, I worked my way towards that, worked hard to, work in tech, work in the Silicon Valley world. And it wasn't any easier. Actually, I mean, the situation was different. I certainly made a great income. I got to a place, and I've written about this, age 30, I was making $500,000 salary. And I remember thinking, shouldn't everything be easier now? Like, shouldn't I not have problems anymore? Like, isn't this kind of what I always wanted? Why do I feel so much stress? Why am I anxious? Why am I trying to control so much? And even when I transitioned to then working for myself as a coach, there was all sorts of other stress. And then this is when I really just became obsessed with understanding what it took to really have ease, less stress, a feeling of calm, feelings of euphoria and just joy consistently versus just when good things happened or when there was kind of really nothing, no problems in the moment. My obsession with letting life being easy and joyful and fun and spontaneous, whatever ease means to you, I think is the most important path that we can walk and understand, like how to live a life without just the illusion of all the nonsense and stress we're believing all the time.
My gosh, this topic is like right on point and so needed. And you know what I love? First of all, I had no idea your life started that way.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, I mean, that's in itself its own, I'm sure, challenge slash massive growth opportunity.
Oh yes, it's really funny because I think that whenever we have different experiences, right? So anyone who's maybe struggled with addiction or who's gone through a divorce or who's had a big loss, you always think, there's going to be a better time in the future, or when you figure one thing out or you lovingly release something, it's going to be easier. And the thing is, the circumstances aren't the thing. Like the conditions aren't the thing. And I can tell you, I had very happy moments living in shelters. If for anyone who's ever had an experience living with other families or not having your own home, being with other people, kind of having a sense of community, there's quite a lot of love and joy in that too. So, looking back on my life, the various experiences I've had, where I am now, there's been joy all along the way. actually. And it's just, what am I allowing in versus what am I resisting? And what am I believing about this moment? What am I thinking about this moment and this experience is far more important than the experience itself.
So poignant. And I think what's really interesting, because for many, I've been there, then the thought is, okay, so there was obviously, it sounds like some love, some joy in the shelters and growing up that way. And you said to yourself, okay, I'm going to have an easier life. Like I'm setting my vision on that. You did it. You got yourself in Silicon Valley. You made $500,000 at 30, like all the things that we would think, oh, life's going to be easy and stress-free. And what I'm hearing is you got there and it was like, this is not easier.
Yes. Yeah. It's other stress, and we've become addicted to stress. And I think that the expectation, and this is what I share in the book, right? Like truly, like Julie, what's easy? We're told work is hard, being out of work is hard, being married is hard, being single is hard, having kids, it's so hard. Oh, not having kids, that's going to be hard. Like where I feel like unless you're rejecting that to some degree or choosing something else, you're not in on the joke of life. Like the joke is always going to be on us if we're constantly stressed. In fact, I was speaking to a friend of mine recently. It was a hilarious conversation. She does very well. She's in the YouTube world. And she was like, when I was at the bottom, when I was starting out, no one respected me. When I got to a certain level, I was in the middle, but kind of ignored. Now I've got like a lot of followers and kind of influence, and people are coming at me. Like a lot of hate's coming at me. And I'm like, well, she's like, where's the good part? And I'm like, they're all good parts.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
But she's like, where's the peace, the ease, the joy? I'm like, oh, that's day one if you want it to be.
Let's talk about that. Because I know many listeners are, not everyone is an entrepreneur, but we have a lot of amazing entrepreneurial spirits, light worker types, coaches, healers,
amazing.
Men, mainly women who are like, I want to make my life the most I can and live in my purpose. Like I just know beautiful listeners that are, I know you want to have that joy and peace and ease. And I think what you said is this is really important, because I think there is this fallacy. Like when I have a certain amount of subscribers or followers, even my brain is like, oh, I'm sure things are easier for her now with, 5.5 million or whatever it is. And what you're saying is, no, it can be this way from day one. So let's talk about how the heck, Susie, do we make it easy? Like, tell us what you found out, because I don't know.
I love talking about this. And funnily enough, look, I mean, this is a conversation for everyone. I know that sometimes we think, oh, these are entrepreneurial conversations, or these are, conversations for people who care about this or that. This is for everybody. A friend of mine, I was speaking to him recently. His kids are teenagers now. And he's like, people say to me and my wife, oh, they're the difficult years. And he's like, they've said that to us every single stage of my children. Oh, newborns, oh, that's rough. Oh, toddlers, that's rough. It's like, I mean, isn't this insane? Like, Julie, what are we waiting for? Because the grave is coming soon for everybody, right? Like, think about how temporary our lives are, and we never know when that is. If we're living in this place of expectancy for something to be a little better in the future, it's insanity. Like, it's insanity. So the way that I look at any situation, and every life has problems, right? Sometimes we think that there's like this suffering hierarchy, or gosh, if you're living in a shelter, that's really, really bad. My only problem is that I'm fighting with my spouse, or my only problem is that I've got a bit of credit card debt, or whatever it may be. The thing is, the stimuli in our lives, what's outside of us, is always going to be changing, and it's not always going to be wanted what happens. But the way we see it's a bit tricky, right? Because we see the world all outside. That's how we see it. But the world's experienced inside. Everything that we experience is inside. And so if I'm feeling some dissonance, if I'm feeling some negative emotion about something external, it's something that needs to be questioned. So if I'm thinking, someone resigned from my team, that's bad, right? I don't know, right? My mother-in-law isn't happy with this one thing that we've agreed to do. That's bad, right? I don't know. Like, oh, I can't cook. Oh, it's such a failure, right? I mean, I don't know. Like we're so quick to jump to judgment, and the judgment's largely negative when it comes to ourselves. So I can't cook, right? Amazing. I get to go out a lot. Like
Yeah.
amazing. I never have a messy kitchen. Oh, a team member left. Wow, maybe there's someone who can really support me in new ways that I didn't see before. I even forgot what the other example was, but I think we jump to judgment so quickly without a single pause. We go straight from the external circumstance to the internal negative emotion in a flash. We do it a million times a day. And I just slow it down a little bit and think, could there be another way? Is another way that I can look at this? And it's amazing when you do that, how much of what you're feeling stress about is really an illusion.
Mm. I'm kind of hearing, and in this is even you said is like the little hint is you've got to make space to even pause because so much of what we're getting is negative. I really like I relate. I have kids. I remember like, oh, pregnancy is rough. And I was like, I don't want to hear it. Oh, at the beginning years, now they were a little rough. I will be honest, baby, like not sleeping, but oh, teens. And I'm like, actually, I love having teens. Like but the point you're saying, I think, is when you start hearing that either from yourself or others, we've got to pause. And it's almost like you're asking a new question, reframing something. So it's like you just judge quickly otherwise.
Oh, yes. And we will go through life with this tunnel vision of like, oh, this part's hard, that part's hard. Where's the easy part?
Yeah.
Like truly, we can even just sit for a moment and think, okay, like when is the easy part coming? And
Yeah.
our mind will come up with ideas. Oh, when the kids leave home, but they'll be terribly sad too. And who knows, are they going to get into accidents out there in the world? Well,
Yeah.
that's hard, right? Or is the easy part going to be when you make more money? Okay, well, then also with more money comes more responsibility, more taxes, more, am I investing my money in the right way? Stress, right?
Yeah.
We have these kind of ideas, but they're all just like movies that we're
Mm.
playing
Yeah.
that aren't even real,
Ooh.
And when you think about it, the reason we want anything, right? Like the goal of all other goals, like if you want a nice man or a boat or I don't know, to be thinner, like whatever it is, like it's because you think it's going to bring you some joy, some peace,
Yeah.
right? And so uh, joy and peace is then the goal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
why not allow it in a little more now? Because
Yeah.
it's actually not going to be any better later. And that is actually a hopeful message. It might seem like, oh, it's not going to be better later. It's like you've got so much, like there's so much already. There are so many more blessings than we allow ourselves to realize because we're not focusing on them.
Yeah, this is hitting home. And I've seen it, I will say, especially as a business owner, where it's like this goal, and then the carrot stick moves, oh, this goal and this ability to impact this amount. Well, what about like what I'm really hearing you say is find right now in this present moment, like find joy, peace, and ease right now. And you can. Do you have any tools, tips, strategies, anything like to talk about? Because I can just hear people like, okay, that's awesome. How do I do that now? Like maybe, we're still in an interesting global
Yes.
crisis. If you could say, a lot going on there and there's a lot happening.
There are two things. There are two things that I like to do, especially, this is interesting, Julie. Most people don't realize they're negative. I've never met a single person who said, I'm kind of a negative person.
Yeah.
Right. We don't realize how negative we are a lot of the time, right? So I like to ask myself this because sometimes it's even easier. I don't like saying gratitude, count your blessings. You kidding me? I was in a gratitude rut for 5 years. Health, love, had no impact on me, right?
Yeah.
I like to ask myself, what's not going wrong?
That's an awesome question.
So this actually happened once, and it's in the book. I was on the phone with my husband. I was in Whole Foods. He just left a derm appointment, just, a skin checkup as you do, especially when you live in Florida. And I was like leaving Whole Foods and he called me and I'm like, how was the derm? He's like, all clear. What's for dinner? And I was like, no, no, no.
Yeah.
Oh, pause there, my love. You don't have skin cancer.
Yeah.
Like that's something not going wrong.
Yeah.
Imagine if that was a different phone call. Hey, we need to look at something. We wouldn't be going, what's for dinner? I wouldn't be talking about lentil tacos. You know what I mean? Like, but we're straight to and this is how our brains are wired, right? Because our brain is really the function is to protect us, right? To mitigate risk, to keep us safe. So we're not wired to look for the things that aren't going wrong. We're created to really look for problems so that we're safe. But what isn't going wrong? Like, are your kids healthy? Are you healthy right now? Like, is my other favorite thing to ask myself is, apart from what I'm worrying about or what I'm believing or some anxiety I have about the future or some guilt I'm experiencing about the past, apart from all of those things that are happening in my mind, is everything actually okay? Like sitting in my chair, speaking to you right now, Julie. Yeah. I've got air conditioning. I've got water that I'm drinking. You know, I've got Wi-Fi that's working. I have no pain in my body. Like, I know, you know, when we wrap up, I've got nice food, healthy food that I can eat. I mean, there's nothing going wrong. And yet I could feel really anxious now and think about all things I got to do in September and this promotion, how's my mom? Or I can just realize how like 99% of my life is okay right now.
Oh gosh, I am in love with this. And I'm like, I'm in love with you with this whole thing. I'm like, this is so, well, it's interesting. I must have been channeling you this morning. I recently re-sprained my ankle. I had an injury growing up a couple times, really sadly fell about 2 months ago. And I finally got it checked out. And yesterday, and he was like, yeah, you're going to have to really give this time. Like, that means this is not just like, this is going to heal tomorrow. And I was really sad about it. And this morning, it's funny. I was like, hold on. Okay, it hurts a little, like, but I did this. And I was like, oh my gosh, what's not going wrong? I'm like, my spine works. Like, I can walk, you know, my other ankle is great. This one will heal. Like, I just started and it felt so much better. Yesterday was rough. It was rough. I have a question that actually now that's coming up real time. How do you, because I think it's important, and I'm sure as a coach, like, honoring our feelings. So I had sadness. I'm a little bummed about it. So how do you hold that? Like, you hold the feelings of sadness or whatever is going on for anybody, may not be your ankle, but, and then I guess it's holding both at the same time. Like, how do you have it? Yeah. How do you do that?
So when something goes wrong, and by goes wrong, like, that's in inverted commas, right? Because something similar happened to a friend of mine recently, Julie. She went for a run, something happened to her leg. It's a long healing process. And there are blessedly a couple of things she had to pull out of. And it was actually a really wonderful experience for her, because she realized when she had to pull out of a couple of things that it was still okay. She thought, my world will fall apart if I let these people down.
Yeah.
You know, or they're going to be mad at me, or, you know, there's going to be this string of negative things that happened. Everyone just supported her and loved her.
Oh, I love it.
Like, it's not just about showing up and being like available and in perfect health. She had to say no. And then also she was having some issues with her family, and it gave her a chance to just sit down.
Yeah.
She's like, go, 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 go. And she's like, I'm sitting down on the sofa with my leg up. And this is kind of like doctor's orders. I'm like, oof. If a doctor told me to sit down on the sofa with my leg up, I'd hug him.
Yeah. Right. It's like, right.
Yeah. So look, the pain is there, right? The negative emotions are there. You can feel sorrow, resentment, confusion, disappointment. Those emotions are real. We feel them.
Yeah.
And we don't want to deny them, because when we deny them, nothing good happens, right? They're still there. It's like, if you just shine a light on them, though, with love, not like, got to get rid of my anger right now, got to get rid of, but if I shine a light on my anger, say, you know, why am I angry? Why am I angry? Like, I'm angry because I hurt my leg. I'm angry because it means I can't work out. I'm angry because I can't Okay.
Yeah.
If the judgment weren't there, that something bad happened, or that I'm a victim, or something terrible took place, what could there also be space for? A question I often ask myself is, I'm feeling because I'm thinking. I'm feeling X because I'm thinking Y.
Oh, that's good.
So I'm feeling angry because I'm thinking something really unfair has happened, right? Or I'm feeling like, really disappointed because someone let me down.
Yeah.
And look, I was divorced in my early 20s, and it was a series of feeling let down by my first husband that led to the blessing of our divorce. Much love to him, right? But what my first marriage paved the path for a very excellent marriage now that I have, that I needed that very difficult, painful experience for.
Right.
And so I just think when you take a step back, I love to use the disassociation method where you just step out of your problem, think about it as woman, foot, injury.
Mm.
Not like me. This always happens. Remember that time when I was 13 and that girl pushed me and my shoulder still feels weird sometimes? Oh, and you know what else? The bank screwed me over on this thing, and see, bad things keep happening to me. It's like, is any of that like those things, first of all, aren't connected, right? But without the story, like without this whole narrative of bad things happen to me,
Yeah.
how much differently can you feel about a current challenge that you're having or a current situation that wasn't wanted?
This is so powerful. I think what you're also referring to, I love this, the disassociation idea of like, and even as you said it, I'm like, right, woman, foot, like healing, whatever that is, we put labels, we attach meaning. I
Mm-hmm.
love what you're saying, because it's like where you just got to check yourself out. Like, what are you attaching meaning to? And that will get in the way of things being easy, is what I'm hearing. I think of what I'm hearing you say, which,
Oh, yes. I mean, think about it. This is what I think of ever. This is why, I mean, I think one of the superpowers I've developed over the years, Julie, is I really take very little personally.
yeah,
Like truly, even no matter what the abuse or like for stuff people hurl at me online, like whatever it may be, I'm like literally woman, words, woman says words.
love it.
Like, and it has nothing to do with me. Like, woman types letters
Amazing.
into
Okay.
direct message,
Yeah.
and there's a woman receives message, but none of those things mean anything necessarily, right? So what am I making it mean? Oh yeah, my mother always said that I wasn't good enough. Yep. See this stranger in Ohio, she's right. Yep. And you know what else I was always thinking? I always know I wasn't cut out to be an author. I'm really happy I never went for it. I'm just going to go like smoke some pot and eat some Doritos and like, yeah, this is exactly just how my life goes.
Oh my God.
Like, I mean, look, we attach meaning. It's not there. We make connections that don't exist, and no wonder we're suffering.
Yeah, no, I love it though. Even when you said like the stranger from Ohio, why would you ever make that? But we do that. I mean, and we'll look for, I get it. I just, it's so great when you can put the humor in it though. Like someone you don't know, like you're gonna let your whole mood be affected by someone you don't know who has a comment. I love that women saying words. It's
Oh,
really,
you know what? I can tell you that when I work with people, we end up laughing at the stuff that upsets us. It's like, what am I making it mean? Oh, it's often a childhood thing, right? Or that if we think there's some truth there, we make a connection and we just end up laughing. I'm like, what if like an animal were watching this or a toddler were watching this situation just like with completely open mind? They'd be like, what is this person doing? This person is looking at their phone and now they're sad because woman said words.
yeah, that makes zero.
Yeah.
That is so great. No, I love like it's stripping it down to like literally what you can see with your eyes is kind of or what you could actually like the action, the verb. That's it. There's nothing, no descriptive, no nothing. It's so powerful. I love
Yes,
that.
and I would say like don't listen to me. Like just it's see if it's true for you. Like but is when you break it down, break it down, break it down. Like the truth inside of you is more important than anything anyone says or any book you can read. And that's the truth to listen to. And when you question what you're thinking, you question a narrative, you question a belief that you've been fostering for maybe 5 decades. If you honestly question it, no illusion can withstand really honest questioning.
Yeah. Oh, I
And
love
so test it yourself. Like test it yourself, see if it's real, like see if what you're making something mean is actually real. And I can tell you I'm yet to find an example where something's real.
Mm. Which then begs the question, of course, like this whole idea, I think it's the word Maya, illusion, like how much are we living in this complete?
Mm-hmm.
Based on
Mm-hmm.
that is pretty much almost everything.
Yeah. Well, if you think about just how people experience the world, it used to always baffle me, Julie. Like, it just say I'm at a wedding, right? Or I'm in one of my corporate offices I used to work at. Say there was like 200 people in one office. No one would have the same story about what that office was like. I
Mm-hmm.
was always like, I really like it here. I love the snacks. The marketing's great. HR are cool. I love those cube cool chairs. Someone else would be like, they're out to get us here. Engineering's slow. The air conditioning's too cold. Oh, no one's getting their full bonus because the new boss is like really cheap. And I'd be like, are we working at the same company?
Yeah.
Like same, like, and this happened to me at a wedding. I was like, oh wow, how cool. There's like a ice sculpture thing. I forgot what they're called, where you put alcohol in and you drink. I'm like, that's so fun. And this other girl was like, this is the tackiest thing so you have the same people in nice dresses at the same location, and we're not seeing the world the same. So how are you going to choose to see your world? Right? We're so powerful. And I'm going to be the person who likes the ice thing, and who's going to like the office that I work in, because that's where I am that day. And that day is my life.
Amazing. I'm going to, hold on. I paused it for a second. My earpods just went out and I'm like,
oh, batteries, they suck, don't they sometimes?
Hold on. We were just laughing because my little earpods stopped working, and I'm like literally watching you speak, and I'm like, oh my God, woman speaking. That's it.
Women saying words right now. Let's hope they're good.
I know they're good. I just have no idea that last like 20 seconds. I'm like, hold on. I'm watching her. I'm like, this is perfect what you just said.
Yeah, the way that I look at it is, if you ask anyone about any experience, no one's having the same experience, right? If you put everyone in a separate room, interviewed them without the influence of someone else, that no one's having the same experience in any moment. And so whatever moment I'm in, I'm going to make it the best experience I can, because every experience is my life.
Yeah.
Like every moment is your life. Like this moment is your life. And so it doesn't seem sane to me to do anything else but enjoy it.
Oh, it's you said it earlier. I mean, we don't know how long, this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Steve Jobs said that death is life's greatest invention. And that makes complete sense to me. It's like, otherwise, what would we do? I mean, I don't know, sleep all the time. Like what, just eat all day.
Right.
There's something fixed here, and it's special. Like we know it's precious. Like at our core level, we know it's precious. So to lean into the parts that maybe aren't true, and to suffer for no reason.
Yeah.
I keep saying like the insanity of it, but that's the only way that I can think about it.
Right. No, this is so powerful. What was the inspiration for this book? Curious to hear a little bit about the inspiration and how it came together, because there's always typically a story of some kind. Yeah.
Yes. So probably one of my favorite things about this book, and the feedback I've had so far, is that it's just, each chapter is no more than 2 pages. Right. So it's like letting it be easy. I speak about sex. I speak about money. I speak about female friendships. I speak about defending yourself. I speak about your to-do list. I speak about a range of things that we can let be easier. And it was just advice I was giving all the time, the same struggles, the same problems I was seeing again and again and again and again. So I have like a story lesson for so many of life's experience. I speak about loss. I speak about death. And there's even a chapter on grief. And like, these are short chapters, and each chapter has a rule, a mantra, a Beyonce lyric, right? That allows you to maybe see a situation and you're in another way that could actually be more honest. And another way that will elevate you. I just think this is how we regret-proof our lives. I love in the Talmud, it says that, I don't want to butcher the quote because it's so beautiful, but it says that at the end of your life, every human being will be called to, will be punished for every moment they could have enjoyed and didn't. And so,
I love that. I didn't hear that before. That's
beautiful. It's in the book. It's so, look, I've read 7,000 self-help books, right? I've done so much work on myself, and I've distilled all the best stuff into Let It Be Easy. That
is so cool. The other thing I love is that by having like the 2-page chapters, that's easy.
Oh, and I say in the book, I'm like, talk about being easy. You don't have to read it in order. Although some people do say, and this is very moving, people always land on the page that they need.
Oh, I love that. I actually love reading that. It reminds me when I was younger with the Choose Your Own Adventure books. I don't know if you ever read those, but
I don't think so. No.
Oh, I read all of the back, like you flip to a page and you're like, here I am. And I'd like read all of them and then decide. But you have fun choosing. That's so cool.
Yes. And just pick it up, like see what calls to you, and you might find something helpful.
So fantastic. So one of the questions I always like to ask is, on this show, I call them heart flares, where your heart is like, just have something I want to say that hasn't been asked, or just it's like, I feel like it's that opening and it wants to speak maybe something else that about your book, or you have the mic, you have the whatever you have
Yes.
to say. What are there any other heart flares or anything else that you feel called to share?
Because you said heart, I thought of something.
Okay, great.
So, you know how the biggest cause of suffering is, thinking that we're not enough, right?
Yeah.
Thinking that we're not worthy, thinking we don't have enough. Like these are our fears. If you get to the core of any other fear or negative emotion, belief about the future, like if you got to the core of it, it's I'm not enough, I'm not worthy, or I don't have enough. And sometimes we think, like the world's against us, or we don't have what we need, or maybe we're not loved. We know we're not loved enough, we're not safe. Because you mentioned heart, one thing that I love to think about, if ever I just need a little reminder myself, and it just takes 10 seconds to do this, is to just put your hand on your heart for a moment, right? So it's not necessary, it's not a meditation, it's not a whole thing, but you put your hand on your heart for a moment and just know this truth. Since you were, like even before you were born, right, but say since birth, your heart, your little beating heart, hasn't had a single minute off. Like, talk about a day off, a week off. Your beating heart, since you came into this world, hasn't had a single moment off, not a minute, not 30 seconds. You'd know if it did. That's how loved you are.
Oh, I've got chills.
Like, that's how loved you are. Your heart, no matter what you say about your body, no matter how much you hate yourself, no matter how much you put yourself through stress and suffering, your heart beats nonstop. That is how loved you are. And when I come back to that, and if I feel sad or in a moment of pain or panic, I'm like, oh, we're okay. It's almost like I speak to the real me. I'm like, look at us. We're okay. We've got each other. We love each other. And that's enough.
Woo! Wow, girl, that's a drop the mic moment. I have never heard it. I've never heard that. And that's a beautiful, beautiful reminder.
It makes me emotional thinking about whenever I just, your little heart hasn't had a single moment off. Yeah, and it won't until that's when we make our beautiful transitions, when it's time. But until then, it hasn't, and it won't. So if you ever doubt it, just put your hand on your heart for a minute and breathe, and you're loved.
That's gorgeous. Oh my gosh. That is really, I'm like trying to write and like have my hand on my heart. I think I got it. No, because I always have everyone listening. We have show notes, and that to me that's a beautiful mantra. That's something to say to yourself, often. And waking up, I do a lot of heart, hand on my heart kind of energy before I go to bed when I wake up, gratitude. But I love what you just added. It's always been beating on your behalf. It has never taken a break, and it won't.
And it won't. Like, that's how loved you are. And that's the truth.
That is the truth.
That's the truest thing there is.
Now that is really, to me, like when it stems from there, it's kind of like back to that question of what isn't going wrong. You can come back to that. When in doubt, that to me is the anchor. Like, hello. He's beating, it's beating always. That is beautiful. Oh my God.
And when you make a mistake, when you mess up, when you do something wrong, whatever that is to you, you can love yourself, and you can love yourself extra, especially when you don't deserve it. It's there.
Woo, that was beautiful. I'm like, all right, that might be one of my favorite heart flares of all time. That was amazing. I'm like, okay, I need a little moment with me and my heart.
Take one. Me and my heart need a moment. I mean,
need a moment. Like I just have like a heart, like honoring celebration. Like it's really true. That's really, that's pretty powerful. Oh my gosh, this has been such a gift to have you and to share your energy, and love the focus, the title, Let It Be Easy, what you're teaching, what you're talking about. Even like under it too is what I'm hearing is like, don't let your life go by thinking it's hard, believing what others are saying when, it could just be man saying words, woman saying words, like tune in. I'm like going to take that with me. Tune in to really, it's like really looking at all of what is going well, what is not going wrong. And when in doubt, come to your heart. That is beautiful.
Yay. Thank you so much, Julie.
Thank you so much for being a guest here. I know everyone listening is like, what just happened? I feel like I'm in a different plane of consciousness, which is beautiful. Thank you so
Let
much.
it be easy. And to like one other thing, which I love to ask in any situation, which is always available, is how can I let this be easy? How can I let this be easy? Anything, party planning, going through an illness, loss of somebody, what to wear. Like this is the spectrum. How can I let this be easy? And secondly, if you want to ask a secondary question, what's essential here? And you'll find that you and your beating heart are the most essential thing.
Oh my gosh. I'm so grateful that just came to this. That is awesome. Those are such powerful questions. Really, that is it. How can I let this be easy? Because it's the answers in there. You're already like focusing now, and that's the thing. It's like, oh, this could be easy. The fact you're looking for it, I think that's brilliant.
Mm-hmm. The mind is obedient. It will go where it's told. So it's a good question. How can I let this be easy? And look, and whenever you get that negative charge, negative emotion, how can I let this be easy? In fact, one of my favorite chapters, Julie, is about not taking offense and not defending yourself ever.
Oh, amen.
It's juicy. It's full of all the juices in Let It Be Easy. So
okay. Let it be easy. And then we need to really practice this so that we can come from that. To me, it's a higher consciousness too. I mean, you're coming from a whole different place. So it's a shift in energy. Hallelujah. I love what you're doing. This is awesome. Thank you so much. I'm like, I got to go sit with that question. There's a couple things I'm like, oh, I've been making it really hard. Isn't that fun?
Oh yeah. Let's manufacture some stress and some problems here. We love to do that.
Yeah, like not really too much. I'd like it to be easy. What did you say? Peace, ease, and joy. It's kind of what
it's available.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you for this gift of being here today. You've got a lot of power and there's so much inspiration and it's practical, but there's a lot of really like powerful transformation in what you're sharing. It's beautiful.
Thank you so much, Julie. I've had so much fun being your guest.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you to the listeners. And we will have everything on the show notes, just so you know. I know, find the book, Susie, all the things. I'll have the questions, all of these awesome, fantastic new questions that are going to help us to have it be easy. Yay.
Hey.